Hello. Hi, I'm Susie, and we're the Irish Coalition for People Living with Obesity, and we would like to talk a little bit about the barriers for physical activity. Ben, can we go to you first?
Hi, my name is Ben. I'm 62 years old from Dublin and I am living with obesity. I'm 4.5 years post-bariatric surgery, which has made a massive difference to my quality of life, but contrary to popular belief, bariatric surgery is not an easy way out, not a silver bullet that cures all ills. I have severe or very severe degenerative disc changes and bilateral arthritis in hips, knees and ankles. This restricts my options in unexpected ways. I can walk as long as I keep moving at a reasonably quick pace, but cannot stroll around town or even shops, and I cannot stand still in one place for any length of time without the use of a stick. I also never experience an uninterrupted night's sleep. Because of my pain, I had a gym program 3 days a week, which consisted of 50 minutes resistance training, mostly seated, and 1 hour or about 20k or 1200 calories on the exercise bike. When the COVID pandemic struck, the gyms were closed and I started a daily walk in Marley Park, which is close to home. I built this walk up to 1 hour 50 minutes I used to spend in the gym, and this is about 11 kilometres. Then we got a partial relaxation. The gym reopened, but with a limit of 1 hour. So I took to walking 5 kilometres and then an hour in the gym on the 3 days a week, and 11 kilometres walk on the other 4. Since December, I've been back to walking every day, weather permitting. I've been very lucky with the weather over the last year, but have discovered it's generally best early in the day, and I know it is imperative for me to get up, have breakfast and leave, or is unlikely to happen. I'm also looking after my 85-year-old mother, do her shopping and visit her 3 to 4 days a week, and my wife suffers from fibromyalgia and rarely leaves the house except for hospital appointments. And as I have fallen once and almost fallen on a number of occasions, I'm worried that it would leave me unable to do this. My Fitbit report for 2020 recorded that I walked over 6 million steps, but despite this walking, I gained over 6 kilograms and my back pain has increased. As a child, a teenager and an adult, I have lived with the medical opinion, oft repeated, that every ailment, even a broken arm, was due to my weight. Eat less, move more, I was told repeatedly. My experience in the last year just served to reinforce my belief that the old advice was flawed. I'm now counting the days until I can return to the gym.
Thanks, Ben. And I think that's a stark reality that you could walk over 6 million steps and gain 6 kilos in a year. Thank you for that. So we're going to go to Yvonne next.
Hi, Susie. Thank you. Hi, my name is Yvonne and I am living with obesity, but I also have a rotator cuff problem in my left arm, which stops me lifting my arm completely on the left. I had an accident 7-8 years ago. I had a fall and I dislocated my shoulder. And at the time I had thought that something had snapped. I felt as if my arm was over the other side of the road. But when I said it to them, they just looked at me as if I was bonkers. They just didn't understand what I was trying to say to them. So after a year going back and not getting anywhere with exercises and everything else they gave me, they did line me up with a surgeon, and I was another year waiting on the surgeon to come on board. And when he did eventually operate, it worked out that the tendons had, gone straight back into the arm and they couldn't bend them back to put them back together again. So all I could do was tidy up the rotator cuff and send me on my way. So I started doing physio with that, and it was very painful. And the physio just said, look, it was just bone on bone. I was going to give myself more problems in the future, end up with arthritis, etc., etc. So that stopped. So I found this group and we do exercises, chair exercises. And I have to say the difference it has made to my arm. So it's not only the fact that I can actually do some exercise, I still can't move that arm, but there's other things I've noticed. So something simple to everybody else, like putting on a simple bob, putting your arm around your back, I have actually found I can actually do that now, something I haven't been able to do for 7 years. And it's only because I have started exercising. So I think if you're given the right guidance, we can all do exercises and it will make a difference to ourselves. So yeah.
Thanks, Yvonne. That's powerful. And I think, I'm glad to hear that our exercise group, our moving group, we call it, is helpful. Mick, can we go to you?
Yeah, thanks, Susie. My name is Mick. I am also post-bariatric surgery, 9 months past. And But prior to that, I was actually quite sporty. I was quite active. I did archery and I played badminton and did sort of general walking. I was quite fit. My biggest issue was stamina, and particularly that wasn't so much of a problem in the badminton. I know I'd walk onto court at my heaviest weight and see the looks that some of the opponents would give. That changed fairly quickly when they realised I had the skill to make them run more than I had to, and that was quite good. And but the archery, on the other hand, then was a state that I had to be using my shoulders a lot, and like Yvonne, I developed a bit of a shoulder problem. The biggest sort of barrier that came to me was I went to visit my son who's living in Canada, in Vancouver. He wanted to bring us up to see the favourite view he had of the surrounds. It's a place called Deep Cove, and it involved a hike of about 1 hour up a mountain and then out to a viewing point. But halfway, well, 20 minutes or so into it, I had to stop. I just couldn't move. My legs wouldn't work. I couldn't breathe properly. So I had to sit at the side of the trail and wait for them to go up and come back. I watched all these other people walking up. It was very distressing to me that I couldn't partake in the family activity, and it sort of realised that although I was sporty, I was considered myself reasonably fit. That it got to a point where I actually realised I couldn't live with obesity anymore. So when I came home, I got myself referred, and it has worked out since then. Recently got back into the archery since it's opened up again. And I've actually found that since then, my rotator cuff problem has gone. So I'm flying. And that's basically my story.
Mick. Thank you so much. And it is hard. It is distressing when you can't, partake in certain things. But it's the assumption people think is that we're not sporty and we don't get involved in physical activity, which we do. But there's barriers there. Maura, can we come to you next? Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Maura. I live in rural Ireland and I live alone. So I like to do as much exercise as I possibly can, because I think as you get older, I think it's very necessary to get as much exercise in to stay to stay fit and to stay safe. So for me, I can't just go out onto the road to walk because country roads are way too narrow and way too dangerous. So I physically have to get into my car and find an athletics track that I walk around daily. It's 1,000 steps to walk one round. I get 3 rounds in on a good day, but I feel any day that I get out there is a good day. Excuse me. I also like to go swimming, but I have to look in advance at where I'm going swimming, because if there's a ladder in the pool and there's no other access, I cannot go there. I have to actually go to a hotel where there are steps in and steps out, which means I can only really go swimming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because the pools are full in hotels. Well, they will be full again post-COVID, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. But otherwise, I do have to get out and about every day, because I would be afraid that living on my own, I would be left unable to do things. Thank you, Susie.
So Maura, can I ask you just a little bit though about, you wanted to talk also about personal hygiene as being a barrier to physical activity. Do you mind talking about that?
No, I don't indeed. I have hanging skin on my tummy and under my boots. So I have to actually put a row of cotton wool under there and a row of cotton wool under my tummy, because that's an area that would sweat when I'm walking. And if I didn't look after that area, it would become very red and raw, and I would have wheals, and I'd have welts, and I would have sores, and would cause me problems I don't need. And then when I come home, I would have to change the padding and have a shower again. So that's an area that people don't talk about, but would be high on it annoys me, but I have to do it.
And when people say simply just go swimming instead of walking, it's not that easy to get changed in front of children and change when you're worried.
God, no, it's a nightmare, Susie. Yeah, I have to make sure the changing rooms are not communal changing rooms. I have to make sure that, there's enough place for me to, I can't really undress in front of children and it's too embarrassing. So I really need an area where I can, undress and put my clothes back on, where the children can't look, and even adults, because people are judgmental and stigma is attached to it. So there's a lot more put into it beforehand. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you. And I know it's not easy to talk about such personal issues, but they are barriers that people wouldn't probably even guess. Willie, can we come to you next?
Yeah, good morning, Susie. My name is William Metz. I'm 56 years of age and living with obesity since childhood, all the way through my life. I was very active in my work life. I spent 35 years in the Merchant Navy. In 1998, in work, I had a very bad fall, breaking all bones in my body from the waist down. That pelvis was shattered, both femurs, both tib and fib, both ankles. I broke both arms, both wrists, and several ribs. I spent 6 months in hospital and rehabilitation and got back on my feet. Unfortunately, I had another fall in 2015 and shattered both ankles, again, driving the tib and fib through them, which resulted in me using quite a lot of analgesics to control the pain. These killed my kidneys, basically. And in 2015, the end of October, I ended up on kidney renal dialysis. I attend the hospital 3 days a week for about 4 hours at a time on dialysis. That has an awful effect on your life. Because of the bone injuries, I am now in a wheelchair. I'm mobilized using a wheelchair. I can walk about 10 steps unaided with specialist custom-made footwear, and I can walk about 100 meters with crutches. After that, I have to sit down. The pain in my back is excruciating. The pain in my ankles can be excruciating. I do as much upper body exercise as I can, but in a wheelchair, you are limited to what you can do. Had bariatric surgery in June 2018. At the time, I was 165 kilos. My highest weight ever was 187.5 kilos. I plateaued after 6 months at 125 kilos and was steady for almost 2 years. In October 2020, during a routine blood test on dialysis, we discovered a bacterial infection in my blood. I started losing weight again, which I was delighted with. We got the infection under control, and I weigh 91 kilos. That would be considered a major success in the bariatric surgery world. I'm now trying to stabilize my weight. Dietitians are afraid of loss of muscle mass. Personally, that doesn't bother me as much as the likes of these bingo wings that Maura spoke about. And if you think the bingo wings are bad, you should see the turkey thighs. They're about 10 times the size.
Thanks for that, Willie. I really appreciate that. I mean, these really are very personal experiences which are hard to talk about, but it gives you an idea of a range of the barriers that people face in just having any physical activity sometimes in their lives, and that can change on a day-to-day basis, as Maura said, depending on the day. Maura didn't even touch on pain that she has either, and I think all of us probably have suffered pain. I know for myself, it's access to what I need to do for physical activity. I used to live very close to a gym that I used to go every morning at 6:30, and I wouldn't leave till 9:30. I did the gym, I did the swimming pool every day, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And then when COVID came, I decided to not stay with my parents to Cocoon, and so I'm staying where my partner lives out in Balbriggan, and there's no swimming pool. There's no swimming pool near. The gyms are very much, you could say, the very heavy weight training type, not sort of a big general gym, and I won't walk into them. Apart from that, I actually would think I can't afford a gym membership now, and the nearest place to me is to drive as far as Drogheda through a toll bridge every day, and I can't afford that. So it's access for me for physical activity. People might say, why don't you just go out and walk? Well, I've swollen legs where I'm after having compression tights personally fitted for me. It's very hard. I don't talk about it much because we don't want to hurt family. We don't want to worry people. But on a given day when somebody says, just go out and walk, it's simply just not that easy. And that's a major barrier for me. And then furthermore, we haven't touched on mental health, that if you have bouts of depression, it can be insurmountable to get out that door. You might think it's only for 5 minutes, but then it's just incredibly hard just to take that first step out the door. So I think as a group, we have our moving session every few weeks with the physiotherapist, and it's really encourage people to do what they can and not to focus on what they can't do. And I think that's what we would really like to portray today with this short recording. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.